a sudden, I found myself in love with the whirl. So there was only one thing that I could do, was ding-a-ding-dang, my dang-along-ling-long.
Caravan. I think it's coming through. It started in Guatemala and Honduras, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I hear they're well funded too.
Well, just like in human nature, things are starting to kind of fall apart. Right. I mean, these people are doing a 2,000-mile trek across three countries, right? So I guess they fought the Mexican military at the border and made it through by throwing rocks at them, and not everybody, but that's essentially how they got through.
I question the Mexican military's resolve in that situation.
Yeah.
Rocks,
Yeah.
really?
So they got through. Well, I think they knew that they didn't want to actually stay in Mexico. They were on their way to the U.S., right? But
Well,
it
look.
causes a huge Mexican problem, though, because they have to watch these people all the way through, and there's a lot of
Just like we would when they get here.
we're not letting them walk through. It's not like they're going to Canada, right? And that they're not going to make it through Chicago.
Well, we're just not going to just send them right up to Canada there? Let them enjoy the Great White North there?
Right. And where are we now? Alaska.
It's
Why is it so
cold here. What the hell? Why did we come to here?
From one equator
It's
to
warm where I was
from
at.
the equator to the North Pole. The U.S. is that way. Just keep going until you see white and bears. Keep walking. You're not in the U.S. yet.
Rumored. They actually are carrying bags with U.S. aid on them.
I'm not sure. So I think the caravan is about 5,000 to 10,000 people. I think what's happening is that as of the last couple days, my understanding is that they felt safe in groups, because working your way through Mexico is no safe thing to be doing, right?
Makes sense.
Right. So, but I think that just as human nature's kicking in, right? They're getting tired and hungry, and now I think that they're split into two factions essentially, and many have given up, and applied for asylum either in Mexico or asking to return to their countries.
Now, there's a good one. I'm actually going to go to Mexico and apply for asylum there.
I must go to show you how bad Honduras and Guatemala must be.
Is it really that bad?
According to reports, it's not like I've been there myself to check it out, but it sounds like pretty
I'm sure it's
wrangled.
Yeah.
But Mexico's no party either.
No.
Probably a little bit better off as far as criminal activity. But so now the Mexican government is worried about these people being basically kidnapped along the tour, right? I mean, being plucked out,
yeah.
or they're jumping into trucks to get an easier ride. But what they don't know is that they're never coming back, right?
Right.
All right, so people they're starting to split. My understanding is they're about 800 miles from the U.S. border. So they don't expect them, whoever's going to make it, they don't expect them for at least a few more weeks. But Trump is sending down, how many people is he sending down?
I heard 5,000.
5,000 military troops to assist the Border Patrol in stopping the entrance, the illegal entrance. And it's supposed to be, we'll see how it really goes down, somewhat of an organized process to apply for asylum is another way to get in legally.
Right.
Because they're not coming from Mexico. They're coming from Honduras or Guatemala or whatever.
Well, they wanted to go to a different country. They're in Mexico. Problem solved.
Yeah, they're not stopping there. That's not the reason they left. Apparently, the intent the entire time is to make it to the U.S. But, so some people end up getting in through asylum. But I think by the time the herd thins out, no pun intended, I mean, you're not going to end up with but a couple thousand people tops.
I get crabby in a minivan full of food with my family going 1,500 miles down to Florida.
Yeah.
Imagine how crabby you'd be after a couple 1,000-mile little, 800-mile walk. I would be.
I think all told, it's been like 1,500 miles for some people. That's like walking from here to, Texas?
Yeah, give or take, yeah.
For freedom. from crime and violence and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but I had to endure crime and violence the whole way there.
Yeah. Yep. They say it's cheaper than to pay the what do they call them? You know, the people that get you across the border.
Coyotes.
Coyotes.
Yeah.
Because they rip you off, and you know the police are kind of corrupt and all this kind of stuff.
Well, I heard Mexico's big complaint was every city that they kind of drift through, it's, you know, problematic. You know, people, robberies and different things like that. So,
Yeah, I think it's probably going both ways.
Right.
That's speculative, but I'm thinking it's going both ways. I think that those people are being like, you know,
they're being victimized and victimizing.
and victimizing at the same time. But it might start to become like a thing. Caravans. This happens all over the Middle East, though. I mean, I don't know if people are aware of that. That people do this.
No.
They do this constantly.
Elaborate a little bit.
Ask the Israelis or the Jordanians or the Turkish how many caravans try to make their way into their countries every day. Constantly.
Iraq.
And they do provide asylum for these people.
Yeah, Jordan's actually been, if I recall, actually pretty good about providing people asylum.
Well, the Jordanians are very Americanized, as are the Turkish, and they do permit people to come into their country. King Abdullah, who was the king of Jordan, I was like, you know, he was actually on like Star Trek once.
Get out.
Yep.
Oh, no. We got to put a link in that.
Not to get like nerd fest because I don't watch the show, but he was actually a guest on the new Star Trek show.
One of the new ones? Okay.
Yeah, he was a guest on the show. I guess he liked it that much. But then again, Kim Jong-un likes Elvis, you know, and everything else American.
Yeah, but Abdullah
And
had
his
the money.
father liked it even more, American stuff. Like he's obsessed with like American music and all this kind of stuff.
Well, what's going on with the guy that disappeared at the Saudi Arabian embassy? What's going on with that? They chopped his ass up, man.
Oh yeah, so I guess so. Obviously, yeah, they chopped him into pieces.
So he must have done something.
Well, he was a detractor, if you will,
Of what?
from the Saudi government. He was outspoken about the current prince's policies.
The current prince.
Correct. So,
Okay.
and he went to school, I believe, in the U.S., but he loved his country, he says. Well, he said in past tense. But he was a detractor, meaning he was very critical of their government. Right? He thought they were going backwards, and maybe rightfully so, because a lot of human rights have kind of reversed under this administration, if you will.
Yeah, but I think they did have a major power struggle there, and I think part of that power struggle was part of the corruption that was going on in Saudi Arabia. So if I understand this guy's affiliations correctly, and they could be propaganda, I don't know, but he was aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood, which is very much against the Saudi Arabian princes.
Well, of course.
In
yeah.
general.
Well, right. It took over the Egyptian government for quite some time. The Muslim Brotherhood did. I don't know if he was aligned with them or not. Let's say he was or he wasn't. Either way, this guy went into the Turkish embassy, you know, to chill out. And I
they
think
made
he was
him into
I
shawarma.
think he was trying to get a marriage license, in fact.
What?
Yeah.
To what, his third or fourth wife?
Well, probably 10th. I don't know. So he was in there to get a marriage license, but they knew he was coming. So
Yeah, they did.
yeah, they did. So they sent a bunch of whoever. So anyway, I don't know how to get through this in a logical order. Basically, the Saudis denied that they had any involvement, and they had to admit that they had involvement because the Turkish have secret programs that watch the embassies. So they saw him apparently on video get chopped into pieces.
What?
So
they
they
actually got the video of them
They had the
doing it?
video and they showed it to the American administration,
Oh,
and basically said you can't deny it. Here it is on video. we see him walk in. It's not just a matter of the guy walked in because
Did he walk
a-
in and then just not come out?
a double walked out. A double of
You're
him
kidding.
walked out the back. They had a double walk out.
I did hear about this one.
Right.
'Cause
Okay.
the double was like so bad, I guess.
I guess the double was not good at all.
Really?
Yeah, it was like
Short little fat guy.
yeah, it was like Danny DeVito or something walked out the back. It's
A
like
woman. Yeah.
that's not him.
Something.
Yeah, like
that.
I forgot which version. It's the actual guy was bald and the double had hair. Like it was like that bad.
Yeah. They didn't put too much effort into making that one right. Like Saddam Hussein had a good double, right?
You have one job.
Yeah,
One job.
looked like this guy, and they had like Danny DeVito walk out the back or something,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
Or Joe Pesci, right? And they're like, no, that's not him. So, but apparently worse than that, they had video and audio of the occurrence. Plus, they had video of Saudi intelligence agents going in. It's about the same, just prior to the meeting, prior to him showing up. So, anyway, long story short, they basically chopped him into pieces.
Oh, here's the bags
And
going
they-
out to
they-
the dumpster.
Yeah.
They
you
found
know?
they found DNA evidence that he had died inside the embassy
You
because the
can't
Turkish government sent.
Maybe it was just call girls, and maybe he was just peeing on the bed.
Apparently, yeah, you can't hide.
I'm
that.
just saying.
They were. I guess they hired a maid service to come in and bleach it up.
What kind of maid
It's like,
service is
yeah,
that?
maid service. It looks like John Wick. You know?
Yeah. What kind of maid service?
No, they hired a cleaning company before the Turkish people got there to investigate, and they had cleaned up with a lot of bleach, but it didn't get rid of it. They weren't good at
Here,
it.
clean up this blood. Don't ask
Well,
questions.
Watch
in
out for
Saudi Arabia, they don't normally have to
True.
clean up a whole lot. Usually, they just do it on a soccer field.
Yeah,
right?
the whole place is like Vegas, right? You just bury somebody in it. Well, not true, right? Just throw you out in a soccer field and bury you in the sand.
Hey, we're selling tickets.
Yeah, yeah. Chop, chop.
Can't get away with anything
Yeah, so
anymore.
it put Trump in a weird position because, you know, all these deals that we're trying to do with Saudi Arabia would just end up elsewhere. So people wanted, I hate to use this word, they wanted the prince's head, if you will, right?
Yeah.
But Trump's going, look, yeah, he has to be, we'll investigate, somebody's got to be punished for it, but you don't understand. On the other hand, the arms deals and all this kind of stuff that we have going on and oil prices, we don't want to.
No,
We don't
not over
wanna-
one guy.
It's not
Yeah,
over one
one
dude.
dude.
That's not going to
We're
happen.
not, we're not going to.
Trust me. If I got to pay like $3.50 a gallon for gas, I don't give a shit about that guy.
Yeah,
To be honest, I hate to be a cold, calculating mother, but
yeah, but you know, it goes back.
sorry, dude, you made a mistake.
It's all connected to our continued dependence on foreign oil. It's sickening because we don't need to be. We don't need to be.
We're working on it.
We've been working on it for 20 years, and they still the nuclear option got killed about, I'm going to age myself, 10, 15 years ago. We tried to get bills passed to build nuclear facilities to become independent. That got killed. Then anytime we go to oil drill,
Oh yeah, you had Chernobyl. Chernobyl like killed any.
well, it started with 3 Mile Island, actually. Now I'm really aging
Yeah, 3 Mile
myself.
Island was definitely a.
That was like,
But nothing bad happened there. Chernobyl was the icing. That was the one that put it away.
yeah, the icing on the cake. I'll agree that was the cake. The icing on the cake was the Japanese one. They're still dealing with that.
Yeah, that's still a smoking hole.
So the nuclear option came off the table because
But how many tsunamis are we going to get in the United States? I mean, come on.
yeah, I'm right, but that wasn't the point. The point was is if they do go bad, they go bad.
Bad.
And Chernobyl. Look at the people in Chernobyl. You got kids coming out with like 50 eyeballs, and
They're still being
it's terrible.
affected.
It's terrible. Generations and generations destroyed. You know.
Yeah, there
for
was
a long
guys that
time.
died within hours after that. Those soldiers that were putting that fire out. That horrific, absolutely horrific.
Yeah, just rip.
But hey, you know, I mean, we have so much technology now. Can't we get the technology right to be able to back that up, to be able to stop that situation, because Chernobyl was a whole bunch of bad decisions being made all in a row. And you know how Russians are. They're a little nutty, right? Not judging, but that
No,
whole
yeah,
the
fair
whole
enough.
reason Chernobyl melted down was because they were doing a test and they weren't doing it correctly, and they didn't have the right people and the right processes in place. You know.
Welcome to IT.
Oh God.
Welcome to technology. Right, but when you're dealing with nuclear weapons and not Salesforce software, it's a little bit different, right?
Some people would act that Salesforce is just as bad as a nuclear meltdown, but you know.
Right. So you know, we have plenty of capabilities with fracking. We have oil in the U.S. domestically, particularly in Alaska, which nobody wants to touch, and off the coasts, which nobody wants to touch. We could be independent for hundreds of years. But
I hear
nobody
Venezuela's having some problems down there.
Well, their economy.
There's an opportunity.
Their economy is in the dirt. I mean, absolutely. But a lot of that's political corruption.
It
they,
is.
They just got a new president.
Yeah,
about
and
a week
still,
ago.
he's still selling the whole same load of crap that brought him down where they were at.
You're talking about Hugo Chavez.
Yeah, it started with Chavez, and then there was the next guy, and I don't know who this new guy is.
This new guy is just as crazy as the rest of them.
Oh God,
I mean, he's talking
those
about
poor people. They
you
are
know,
really.
people not worth raping, and I mean, he says all kinds of weird stuff.
What?
Look up some. Do me a favor while
Yeah.
we're talking about other stuff. Look up quotes from Venezuelan president, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And he got elected by the people, but their economy's in tatters. I mean, it's just completely done. Which is why, you know, I'm not a Bitcoin fan, but which is why Bitcoin is doing so well there, because there's no other escape. There's no other escape. They're having to change out of their own currency, and they're using Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies as a mechanism for purchasing, because the value of their dollar is just dirt.
Desperate people will do desperate things.
You got some quotes?
No.
Okay, that means she might keep talking. Yeah, Venezuela. It's beautiful. You know, it's unfortunate. Those South American countries are also, you know, beautiful places. But, well, I guess, you know, pretty much there's a lot of countries that are like that. That are, you know, if you're not finding anything, you're not finding anything. Look up the Venezuelan president quotes or something. The guy's a maniac.
The connection's poor.
He's like Duarte from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's just a maniac. So, but to your point, though, opportunity could present itself. But he is anti-U.S., though.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think the idea was thrown around, hey, you know, we got to throw some military aid down there and try to help them out. But, you know, everybody gets their hackles up. They think we're going to, like, walk into the next Vietnam. It's like, no, we're just going to go down there and try to help these people. They're starving to death, for crying out loud. So now we can't do anything because it's politically inexpedient to, like, go help somebody.
Yeah, but then if we do that, then we have to do, I mean, pick and choose your battles. So, say, for example, if we did that in Venezuela, what's the payback?
Oil,
No, I understand.
you know?
Oil, but
I mean,
you
let's
could-
just not be like all politically correct.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Is we're always trying to be politically correct. So if you were to do that, unlike the Chinese, for example, who are not politically correct about anything.
Oh God, no!
they'll
They
go
go
and
in there in
destroy
a
your-
heartbeat.
They'll destroy your country.
Yeah,
If we go in and do something, it's got to be for a purpose. Here, let me give you a couple examples.
I think stopping people from starving to death would be a good start. I mean, it's just a debt.
Well,
right?
I know, but that goes on everywhere.
It's debits and credits,
Look,
right?
look at all of Africa, for God's sake, right?
Well, they got gold, they got uranium, they got gemstones, they got all that stuff, and it's like, well, okay, you have a natural resource that you could trade that would offset those debts. You know,
Oh,
They don't care.
this is
yeah.
They don't care.
outrageous quotes from Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro.
Oh, Maduro. the cigar guy.
Yeah, economic meltdown, a tsunami of violent crime, and weeks of anti-government protests may be the least of his problems. Has the knack for the kind of oddball public statements that suggest a loose grip on both reality and the Spanish language. Here are some of the things he said. Number one, they inoculated Commander Chavez, he was talking about Hugo Chavez, with that illness to get him out of the way and create a situation of destruction for Venezuela and its independent revolution, basically saying that the U.S. was involved in giving him cancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He
That was
said there is a nymphomania of dollars in many sectors that is impossible to satisfy. Talking about Venezuelans or nymphos about money.
If they ain't got none, I'd be a nympho too. When you're not getting it.
Wasn't there one in there about him sleeping on?
Sleeping on Chavez's grave.
Yeah.
Sometimes I come at night, COME. Sometimes I come at night. Sometimes I sleep here often. You don't even realize it. The neighbors sometimes realize it. Oh, what is he talking
He
about?
sleeps on his grave.
He's a weirdo.
Wow. If I was Venezuelan, I'd be like, how the hell did we get that?
Yeah, how'd they vote him in?
It was Satan
Right.
or a socialist?
Christ
Right.
did what? He said spectacular mangling the Bibles last August. In fairness to Maduro, this one was a slip of the tongue, and he instantly corrected himself. He said, "Multiply ourselves like Christ multiplied the penises."
Yes.
Okay. You know what? People get on Trump for his crazy ass tweets,
I
but
know,
I'm telling
right?
you,
I was
that's
thinking
like,
the same thing.
wow. That's no,
That's
holy
bizarre.
God.
Bizarre.
Those poor people down there.
Okay, food shortage. You want to talk about food? We need to reduce extreme consumption to achieve.
I sent you the picture of the before and after of the
yeah.
guy's store, right?
To achieve a point of equilibrium between supply and a fair price, I trust in the hardworking majority of this country. Look, these are
You're fat, get out.
those are simple quotes to some of the stuff he said. The guy needs to go. I know.
Yeah, but they're too weak to
co-
fight.
I don't know. These countries are always susceptible to coups, right? So, South American and Middle Eastern countries. I mean,
Yeah.
no,
The Chinese will probably come in and help them out.
the Venezuelans.
Yeah.
I don't know how involved they are with them. It's oil, so it's more Russian. The Russians are much closer. Hugo Chavez and Vladimir Putin were yip-yapping all the time.
Yeah, but you heard about the Chinese that were actually had steel that they were dumping down in South America to drive the prices up. They have found these areas down in South America where the Chinese were just dumping steel.
When was this?
Within the last 2 to 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just actually before 2016 election,
To drive up the price of steel.
to drive up the price. They were just dumping it in South America. Might be a tinfoil hat, but they probably scrubbed it from Google.
Yeah, you got to think about like how many